What is up? It's time to build. Thursday. Time to build. Doo-doo. And I'm gonna so honestly I've been kinda torn on what I would like to build next. I mean, I have Dadbod and I want to continue working on Dadbod. But I have some ideas for what I would like to build for Dadbod. And then I also have some books that I'm writing, like Atomic Efforts. And there's a software I'd like to build called Playbook for my books to make them much more awesome. I'm just not sure which one to work on. So, as per usual, I'll likely just work on different. It's a mirror. Likely just work on tools that I can use anywhere and everywhere, so that I'm not spending time working on any one thing. What's up, Amir? We're already live.
Hey, cool.
We're here. We're on. It's time.
Developer show and tell. Do show, do tell.
Yeah. Well, this time I just called it Dev Build Time because we showed and tell last week. So now we have
That's
to build.
true. Now we have to build.
Well, at least I have to build. I haven't done anything since last week.
Ah.
Yeah. Maybe you can help me decide what to work on. With that laugh, maybe not.
I've got some ideas, but how much do you know? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I have two things. I'm choosing between two options. Like I can work on Dadbod, and there's a specific thing I like to do for Dadbod, and I obviously need to iron out the multiplayer kinks and things like that. But one of the things I'd love to do is incorporate a Python interpreter so that you can reprogram things in the game. Just niche it down to it's a game that's based or that teaches you how to program. I think that could be fun. And the second thing that I like to work on is something I call Playbook. It's an idea that I had with a professor of mine like 4 or 5 years ago. And the principle is just take a book, but it's a game. So there are sounds that are playing in the background as you're scrolling through the book, as you swipe between different pages. Background images will change depending on which chapter you're on or what you're looking at to reflect what's happening in the game. So if the characters are in a castle and stormy and rainy, right, as per usual, then you hear storm sounds. There's animated rain falling in the background of the castle. Different things like this. And then in between chapters, maybe there's mini games that you can play. So you get to the final boss, and then you actually have to fight the final boss.
So in all of this, what was the question? Because it sounds like you already answered it. Like, I can gauge from your excitement level which one you want to work on. So just work on the second one. Like, I don't understand. Like, I get it, but like, it sounds like you answered your own question by the way you described it to me. It sounds like there was some excitement, and I know you've talked about like the code interpreter and getting all that in the game. I don't think that's going to be too hard for you. I personally, if I'm going to actually take a few minutes to play a game, I definitely don't want it to have anything to do with anything anything other than just gameplay. So for me personally, if I was going to pick, I would obviously go with the fun storybook. Yeah, the fun playbook. It sounds like a cool, it just sounds like that's what you're going to do anyway, so you might as well just
you
might as well just do it.
Oh, there we go.
I hope that helped. I hope that helped. I'm here now. Oh,
Yeah, totally helped. Yeah. All right. Well, in that case,
oh, I know. I'm just glad today's not Monday.
Tuesday.
Like that's my little win. My little win. We made it to Tuesday, and there's something strangely powerful about making it another day.
Look at you go,
So there's that.
making all kinds of
There's that.
progress,
That's right.
living one day at a time.
One day at a time. That is correct. That is correct. That's funny.
Let's see. All right, then the first problem I need to tackle is data structure for my books. What does a playbook look like? I was thinking of just using Markdown.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. Let's use Markdown.
Oh, Markdown. I'm always curious, like, who came up with the term Rust and why Rust? Like, it just feels like,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
you're kind of like, Rust? Like, like Microsoft was smart. They went like from C to C plus, C plus plus, C sharp. Like they had all these extra things, and they're like, "Oh, it's more special." And then you realize it's really not. But then they're like, come up with stuff like Rust and React, and I'm like, React makes sense, but like Rust just doesn't, to me, doesn't really fit what Rust is. But not everybody can be called like butterfly code, so.
What? Something butterfly code? What?
I said not everybody can take the name butterfly code.
Oh, is that a thing? Butterfly code?
It probably is.
Okay.
If it is, I'm gonna be really Butterfly Code is a book, I think.
It sounds familiar.
Career growth with tailored mentorship. The Butterfly Code. Interesting. It's right up your alley. It's your competition, and I just shouted it out on the stream. I'm actually curious to see. But you're gonna check. You gotta check. You gotta go down a couple. Right there. Second result. Career growth with tailored mentorship. Isn't it going to be funny, like if you read that book and it changes your life? You know, like who knew? I'm not recommending it. I know nothing about it, but
Butterfly Code Journal. Looks like, dang it, these guys can only turn Markdown into HTML. I don't care about HTML. I actually don't know what I want to transfer the Markdown into. HTML version. Oh, they have an XML parser. So I can parse HTML. Hey. Hold up. That's actually pretty useful. There's my daughter. She's doing good. Shall we turn on some musics? Lo-fi.
yeah, it works.
Okay. This XML parser's. I think this is exactly what I need. All right. So I basically have to recreate an HTML parser in Godot. Or I should say like a transfer agent, like take HTML and turn it into UI elements on the screen. This is going to be really interesting. I'll be honest. All right. So step one is to take Markdown and turn it into HTML. And then take that HTML and use the XML parser to display it intelligently. Okay, let's do this. So we got a Markdown parser. Nope, that's not what I want. I want Markdown RS. Maybe doing it in Rust is a bad idea. All right.
Rust.
It's also fun just to learn Rust because, you know, I know absolutely nothing about this, and then I just get to collide with it repeatedly until I figure it out.
You know, I've read a fair amount of Rust code recently. I find Go to be easier, personally. And it's not a an endorsement for one or the other. I just find it easier. I find Rust to be easy. It's just hard for me to like sit down and code it. Like I can read it, I understand what's going on. It's to me, it reminds me a lot of like amped up Java. I know that probably get me shot in some rooms, but um, it's not a negative. It just means it's not like, at least what I'm looking at, because you got to remember most of what I'm going to do is going to be on the API side of the house, and how do we get data from point A to point B. So I don't know. I find it to be pretty good for that. So pretty darn good.
I feel like Rust has taken a unique approach to a couple of things, like so that they could handle multi-threaded environments super well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a low-level language, but without you needing to touch the low-leveledness. You just need to have a comprehension of it. So you can't make mistakes and not deallocate memory. Or I should say, I don't say that you can't make mistakes, but it's much harder to do so. It's like the human no longer needs to say, I'm going to allocate this variable and then I have to deallocate it, release it, things like this. Rust just handles that automatically for you, which is nice. But at the same time, kind of packing that all in, there's some additional, they also have some design choices that they made that make everything else a little bit more interesting. So, yeah. Do with that what you will. Let's see. I never worked in Go. I just know that it throws errors if it's not formatted exactly how it wants it to be.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like there's probably like there's got to be like some language for me, I guess is all I'm trying to say. Like there's got to be one, like maybe that's what I do in a couple of years is I just write my own language, how my brain works like everybody else does.
No, that's what AI is for, man. AI is your language. You just talk to AI in the way that you want, and it understands you, and it makes the thing.
That's true.
At least that's kind of how I tended to see it. Because it's the transformation of language.
Indeed. Speaking of AI, I'm glad OpenAI didn't collapse. I thought for a second. I assume Microsoft has like more control over them now, but which is unfortunate, right? They clearly don't want to be a not-for-profit. It's obvious, right? I think to everybody on Earth, it should be obvious. They've lost a lot of open source developers recently, which tells me that people don't like. That's what they were there for, was to like share this with everybody. Now it's turning into a paywall service. I mean, I don't blame them. It's probably not cheap to operate, and if you want to run,
and to push the frontier of things, right?
On the flip side, you're pushing the frontier for everybody. And then I get it. You're letting companies come in and use your work. I get that. I totally get it. Like, they don't have to rip you off. But I mean, you solve X. Somebody else is going to see how you solved X. They're going to figure out how to solve it too. And then when OpenAI solves Y, they're going to solve it. But they're trailing, and they can charge more for their service while you're sitting here doing all the work. It can be hard. I'm assuming it probably messes with a couple people, and They're like, well, why can't we make money too? I guess you can if you want to. It's just don't be a not-for-profit then.
Is OpenAI technically still a not-for-profit?
Part of it is. I don't know. It's all convoluted. They've got so much structure. And, I don't know. I think they just changed it all, didn't they? Like they just changed their whole structure overnight. Whether they did all that whole thing intentionally or not to kind of like overthrow the board is to be seen. So I was like, wouldn't that be something?
That would be something. I could see it. I don't know if that's what actually happened, though. I'll be honest.
Probably not, but it's kind of fun to think it did.
Oh.
You did this before, right? You made an NPM package before, right?
Yeah, I tried. There were a lot of things that went into it, but I think I got my NPM package started getting really complex because I was trying to make a Cadena. I think I was trying to build something for Cadena, and it ended up being a tool for basically all of Cadena development. And I was like, why am I building this? And the only reason I could come up with is that Cadena wasn't actually building it. It's like, why? I feel like I'm recreating the wheel or something.
It is a cycle. I see a lot of people come in, and that's why there's so many wallets, right? Everybody's like, well, I don't like the wallet, or there was no wallet for so long until Echo came out, and it took so long that people were like, we need a wallet. And Chainweaver wasn't a good portable wallet, which I don't think it was ever meant to be. It just took a while. I think just took a while. And so you saw the same thing with marketplaces. Everybody was building the same thing at once, and everybody deployed at the same darn time, basically based off the same code. And I was, I think I shared it with you the other day. I was resurrecting portions of like, I think some of the function names are probably still the same. They're not even the same functions anymore, but I leave them because it's like, well, I know what it means. And so I know what it's supposed to do. I just changed the guts of it. And I added a simple little function to get, like, remember how you did your pricing tiers for NFTs? So like if you had a public tier,
yeah,
you did it in KDA, right? You could also do it in ZUSD now. Like you can put that in there, and then it would bind to, right? That's $1. It's bound at. So you could do that. That's easy. But what I did was, I added a new type in the tier structure. And you can specify if you want your pricing in KDA or in USD. And if you choose USD, it does a real-time lookup while somebody's buying to get the current price of USD from an Oracle, an on-chain Oracle. Well, contract at that point. Oracle updates it. And then it feeds that price in the transaction. So like you can have real-time, like if I wanted to charge $100, I can charge $100 and it can pay it in KDA. It's just going to be more than 100 KDA right now. And so I thought it was kind of cool. I tried to keep it like as simple as I could so that I didn't have to like add all this extra logic. And I found keeping it simple was actually advantageous because it ended up being like 3 lines of code to accomplish plus a schema change. Mm-hmm. And so 5, 6 lines of code, 7 lines of code total to get that. I'd say when you're dealing with 1,000 lines of code in a contract, 7 lines isn't too bad.
It is not that bad. especially what? Oh, sorry. Oh, fetch. Oh. Let's see. Break, Godot. What the heck is going on? I broke it. Something I did when I created this Rust library is causing it to crash the moment I hit go.
It's all right.
Oh, there it is. Maybe it wasn't crashing. Okay. Markdown parser. Yeah. All right.
I've also noticed a lot of people going towards Rust lately. I don't know. I don't know if there's like something changed or updated. I don't keep up to date with it too much, but
Well, I feel like there's a lot of. I mean, you got Solana that's using Rust. You got Solana using Rust. A lot of, from what I've understood, a lot of major other players are using Rust. I think, for example, Wallet Connect. I believe their server is written in Rust. Radix uses Rust. Whatever design choices were made, it's obviously powerful enough to be useful. Or I should say, useful enough that people care enough to use it, in spite of the learning curve that you might need to overcome. So. All right, so check it out. We can run Rust code. See that hello world? That's what this markdown is doing, parsing markdown. Hello world. So now it's time to turn that into some HTML. Let's fetch and go. All right, so we don't care about either of those. We're gonna hop over to you. I'm just gonna put you over here. It's only easy because I'd already set up a project that had Python interpreting or using Rust. I just copied all the code over and boom, here we are. Done. It's nice to just copy paste stuff, you know?
That is nice.
So now we look at how to use it. I'm pretty sure I type in use markdown. Oh. And then I do markdown. To HTML. And then I pass in my string. And I guess this should return a string. Or this is return. Let's how does it create? Yes, I just want this to return my string. That's all I care about. So I do markdown to HTML. Honestly, I could just skip this step by exporting my project as HTML. I wouldn't have to worry about Rust. I got too excited about writing things in Rust. But let's just run it anyways because it's there. It's wait, hold on. I need to cargo build. I think I need to close Godot every single time I run it. That was something that was annoying. There's gotta be a better way to run it. Oh, I broke it. Okay. Oh, no biggie. I don't need the Python extension either way, so I just need people to import stuff as HTML, and I'm a happy camper. Okay. Which is what I'm going to do.
That is what's going to happen.
Okay, if this thing is designed to return an error code, how exactly then do I get the file or the stream? I wonder.
That is a good question.
Look at an Excel file for parsing. This returns an error code. I mean, great.
You use Copilot, don't you? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Do you use
Yeah.
Copilot? Yeah. I almost got it the other day, and I just opted not to. Because I love tab 9. I don't know if I can change. Like I don't know if I could do it. Maybe like I want tab 9 Enterprise because then you can hook up your own whatever you want to it. Like I can hook up my GPT-4 subscription to it, and then you can also train it. So as a programmer, right? You're doing this a lot. You recognize that it starts picking up your habits, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you could like feed it like a team, like a small team that does like some intense stuff. Um, that makes them money. That they're actually doing this for profit. Um, I think it'd be worth it then. I'm not going to spend the like $50 a month to have that, but I've spent $50 a month on worse things, so. And I'm not going to dive into any further on that one. Let me just,
Yeah.
in case anybody's watching us, let me just note that.
I mean, I would like to build AI agents or AI swarms that kind of do my work for me, right? I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that there's already developers and programmers who are working on that, though. So, I feel like the new Assistants API, for example, just makes that super, super nice. So easy.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be really interesting, I think. Making an HTML parser.
I love this. I love Free Code Camp. I don't know. I'm not like knocking them at all. I really do like what they do. And I feel like they contribute a lot, right? It's crazy. But like, how do I say this nicely? Um, they have an example of how to publish an npm package, and I'm like, I'm looking at this going, man, this took me like 5 minutes to do. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way this is that easy. None. Like, impossible. Like, impossible. Um, uh, I don't know. I just test. I like they don't. I don't know if the example is very good. Um, I can't speak for if it's good or bad. But I threatened to do a wallet package for a while, and I think I'm going to do it because there's like every single developer that I talk to is like, why do I have issues with wallets? And like, how do you get all this to work? And I'm like, I'm done talking. Like, I showed them my code, and they're like, I don't even know what to do with all that. I'm like, I don't either. Like, maybe I just simplify it for them because I know how to, like, the mechanics of it are like, I can close my eyes and it's all simple, but it's a lot. And I know you've seen it before, like building because there's not a package for it, like Web3 ethers or whatever others are using, right? Where it's super duper easy, like to add a wallet, like, well, add the context to your site in like 2 seconds. You've got a wallet and you can connect and interact with it. Like, it's so super easy. I'm not gonna ever make something that crazy good, but I'm wondering if I don't spend a couple hours and see if I can't make one of these. I think you usually do this in TypeScript though. Yeah, because you're gonna want all the types in there. Ugh. I'd actually have to pay attention. TypeScript's for people who like nice, well-structured code and everything's like pristine. I'm all like, I threw a hammer at glass and I'm like, it worked. It broke.
Hey, sorry, what was that last part? I was reading this. You threw a hammer at glass and it broke?
Like there's these programs, like they love the like, oh, they're like, oh, JavaScript program, and I'm like, you're a TypeScript person, aren't you? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I could tell the type. And they're like, everything's pristine, beautiful, like well formatted, type checks everywhere. You can't put the wrong thing in any place, right? And I'm just like, hey man, I need to get through this door. I'm gonna take my hammer and smash through that glass, and if I make it through that door, I'm gonna call it good. And I sure as heck made it through that door, so we're good. I don't know what else people want from me. Does it work? Does it have errors? No. Okay. And then isn't that the purpose? Is it secure? Yeah. Okay. It's like it's not pretty. Okay. Okay. I can live with that. I probably shouldn't joke about that. And some of my friends would eviscerate me. I think I got a free like course on Udemy for TypeScript gifted, and I was like, because I've had this conversation so many times, and you know, when you're like being funny, ironically funny with your friends, they do stuff like that.
They just gift you things?
Like, I give people Udemy courses. Like, if I'm like, hey, you should go learn this, and they're like, it's too hard, and I'm like, here, go here, and they're like, oh, it costs like $9. I'm like, okay, here you go learn, and then go pick up a manual and start reading, because that's like, I've gone through this. I think I can do this. Now go ahead. See, this is the part that gets me. Add your code. Now go ahead and add code for your package. What am I supposed to code in my package? Like functions? It's modular, so it's like npm structured, which or Node.js, which I do in my sleep. I wonder if I'd be good at this. I'm like as I'm looking at this, like I open up npm packages all the time and pull stuff out that I want. This is just me putting stuff in, right? Instead of taking it out and using it, I'm just putting it in. Can't be that much harder. Yeah, we're gonna do this.
I believe in you. Turns out
At
ChatGPT
least one
can't
of
work with my HTML that I gave it. That sucks.
you can't interpret HTML. Just convert it. That sounds like fun.
Convert it to what?
Wait, it can't read HTML. Are you kidding me? How is that even possible?
I think it can't read HTML that you provide, which is weird because if it's gonna go and do web searches,
How does it interpret
maybe I
web
just gave
like
it too much. I mean, there's a lot here. Alright, we're a dragon.
or dragon?
Undo. Start a new chat.
I'm curious to see what, like, I'm still surprised, like, unless you're right, unless there's just way too much data.
Man, parsing the CSS is not fun. Style.
Oh gosh. It's not as easy as they make it sound.
Of course it's not. It's an NPM package. Nothing as easy as it's supposed to sound.
I mean, man, how am I supposed to do this? I guess I'd probably have to use like, oh, you know what it is? You know what my problem is? It's 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 not NPM's fault. It's not. I loathe. I am not a fan of Redux. I'm just not. And usually with just stand, you don't use context, right? But if you're gonna have a wallet and you're gonna store properties, you need context, like on a full site, right? If you want to make this easy for people to implement, you're gonna have to use like full site context. Likely, most likely. And I'm not a fan of that. So here we are. And I think what I'm trying to accomplish will be pointless because nobody will be able to figure out how to use it. Or they'll have to really, really, really focus in on my docs. Really focus in on that. Although I did recently wrap it in context, like React context. I just feel like maybe I have to bite the bullet and do it the right way. I'd rather not do an NPM package than do that. I'm that stubborn. I think I'm that stubborn. It's very, very, very possible that I'm absolutely that stubborn where I just won't do this because I have to follow somebody else's flow that I don't like. Do you think it's worth being that stubborn over? I do. Or do you think I should just do it and stop whining?
I would say the easier you can make it for the end user, the happier that they will be, and the more likely they will to use your product.
Oh.
Not what you want to hear, is it?
I thought we were friends. Friends don't make friends do things they don't want to do. Actually, that's not true. That happens all the time.
Friends push friends to do
That's
the right
fine.
thing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's
good friends.
Yes. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. I suppose. But you know what? I live for the challenge. I think I can make this work the way I want to. It's just a little more work for me. But I think I can make the user experience be very similar to what they'd be used to for like if you are adding an Ethereum wallet, I want that experience. Which they should have all that in Kadena, like the Kadena API, like the new Kadena JS. I feel like it just doesn't address wallets at all. Like it's just like taboo right now. Like wallets are out of scope for everything. And that's weird because that's like the most important front end component, right? The basic connect the wallet and sign a command. Like those are the bare necessities. And
yeah.
They did make a cool package for wallet. I mean, I'll give Ash credit. I like his work. He made a pretty package for Wallet Connect, but I think he's got to update it constantly. I don't know if it's happening or not. I'll have to go check again.
You shouldn't need to update a Wallet Connect package constantly.
I know. You should not. But when wallets keep changing their configs, you kind of have to. They shouldn't be doing that either. Okay, man. I think I'm gonna hop off, but I want to see the thrilling conclusion to this.
Really?
I'm on the edge of my seat here. I just trashed Redux, which I know a lot of people like, and so I just need to feel good about myself that somebody else had more success today than me.
Well, I've got functions in here, so I mean, I tackled the Rust Markdown to HTML. Decided that I didn't actually necessarily need to do that, so I decided. The simpler solution is just assuming people have their book as a Google Doc. You just export the Google Doc, and boom, you're good to go. So
Nice.
I'm just going to assume that that is the process that people will go through for now. So that's the process that I've gone through, and I'm now setting up the parser to work through HTML that's been exported from the Google Doc. And step one was just parsing all of the CSS classes into something I can use inside of Godot nodes, if that makes sense. So basically, creating a translator between CSS and Godot nodes. So like you can do text alignment, vertical alignment, rich text, things like that. And I believe I've just gotten Mr. AI here to build me a parse HTML for CSS function that will parse all of the code, all the HTML, and pull out the CSS code and parse it into my BB stuff. Boom.
Boom.
So now that we have the classes as BB code or just like parsed out so I can interact with them as dictionaries. Now, as I'm going through all of the spans and the P's, tags, and things like that, I can turn them into rich text.
There you go. Well, I'm excited. Maybe we'll finish it up Thursday? I don't know. Hopefully.
No, I think this will take longer than that, but I mean, I definitely have something to show. I'd like to be on a testable state, like just be able to throw it up in Godot by that point so I can start playing with, hey, is it displaying things the way that I want it to? Hopefully I might be able to have something like that done right before I have
That'd be
to.
cool. That'd be cool.
All
right, man.
In the next hour or so.
Hopefully I have my library started by then. I've been working on it, but we'll see. But I gotta jump off and get a couple minutes for another call. But as always, it's a pleasure.
Likewise, Amir. Thanks for hopping on.
All right. Thank you.
Have an awesome day. Enjoy your Tuesday. That is not Monday.
That's right. All right. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, guys. With him gone, I'm going to stay. I'd like to just keep programming. I haven't programmed in a while, and I do enjoy this process. So now I'm just going to start talking more, so you get to hear me speak. My wife just laughed at me. All right. So we can parse HTML for CSS. We create a new parser. We open the buffer. I'm gonna switch to CSS HTML file. Okay. And then a node. I'll call the controller. Parse CSS class. Then we'll just have a parse CSS. CSS class. Get a data strip. I'm going to split on these periods. It looks like every period has that. Yeah, so I think every period represents a new class. So we're going to parse the CSS classes. Let's put on the periods. Okay, we're going to stripping rules. Control info for CSS class. We'll find the first bracket, and then the class name will be everything up until the first bracket, and then we'll parse everything inside of the brackets. And that becomes our control info. Okay, so we got our parse CSS. This HTML. I'm just going to copy this. Hit parser. And the get node name is style. What do we get the style? Data. And we parse. I'll turn an array here. Okay. So there we go. Now we should be parsing the CSS, which I get the class and return the control info and give it all back to us as a dictionary. Nicely formatted dictionary that we can just pull a control info out of using the class name. So that should be super nice for us. Moving on. Okay, so we've got parse HTML to VB code. Excuse me. I got the external parser new, open, path. Underneath this, so can we get node data? Okay, better. There. Parse the CSS. Okay. First what it reads, you go okay. First we're getting a type. Try that. See what happens. I expected to crash. Yep. There we go. Now, I'm looking to understand what's getting passed into parse CSS. Looks like I disconnected there. 48. Looks like the get node data of this style is not working. There is an error in any other type of node. Alright, looks like since HTML is a custom form of XML, that it's not really liking the fact that there's text inside of a style block. Or I should say, throwing an error text inside of my style block. The question becomes, how do I get my text, even though this is not a text block? Same with P and span, actually. I've been running into this problem with everything. So these styles, there we go. It stinks. Alright, so we're gonna have to probably do something with this button mouse now. Oh, well, I thought HTML was valid XML, but apparently it's not. That is good to know. That really stinks, actually. Okay. So we're kind of back to square one. So I don't want to build an HTML parser from scratch. I was hoping that an XML parser was an HTML parser, but it is not. So there are different things that we have to do. Looks like everything still transfers to HTML. So okay. See that bloody. Yeah, let's do this. I'm actually just gonna make some notes. I'm gonna need to download the C# version of Godot in order to use this. All right. That is it for today, friends. Thanks so much for hopping in. Letting me cruise through documentation and go to try and figure out how to build an HTML parser in Godot and render it using Godot control nodes. This is going to be a bit more effort to get it to a point where I'm happy with it, but we're on our way. I feel like this is a major piece of the puzzle. If I can get it out of the way, I'll be happy. Thanks for hopping in.